Here we saw how we could use model state.isValid property to check for the validation of our models. But there is a lot cleaner way, which is a slightly advanced technique, is to create a custom action filter so we don't have to check this again and again, and the code inside the controller also is kept to a minimum. So let's see how we can achieve that. For this, we have to create a folder and a custom action filter. So let's right click on the API folder and add a new folder and call this custom action filters. Inside this, we will create a new class. So add a new class, and you can call this validate model attribute, because we are creating an attribute which we can decorate the method with, and that will automatically check before coming inside the method. It will check for the model, and if it is if the request is bad or it is not valid, then it will return a bad request. Otherwise, it will come inside the method. So now we have to use the action filter attribute and inherit from that class. So action filter attribute, and now we have to override the on action executing method. So this is the on action executing method, and we are overriding that because we are creating a custom validate model attribute. So let's clean this, and inside this we will use the context first. So if the context dot model state, so you can access the model state using the context dot is valid property is equal to false, that means it is not valid, then we will add a response to it. So context dot result is equal to new bad result. So there's a bad request result object, and we can give that saying this is a bad request and return a 400 response. So this will be our custom validate model attribute, and using this attribute we can assign this now to the controller method. So instead of doing the check explicitly inside the method, we can remove this and keep it as is, as it was before, but now add the attribute to the method. So we will use the validate model attribute that we just created, and this is coming from the custom actions folder that we have inside the application. So let's import the namespace, and with just that single line we are now checking the model before it even comes inside the method. So we can do the same thing on every other method that requires this. So the update method also needs the validate model, so I can add that and remove the explicit if else step from within. And similarly, the Vox controller can also be relieved from that method, so I don't have to check for the model state from within, and I can remove that and add the validate model action attribute. Similarly to the create method, which is the last method, add the validate model attribute and take away the if statement from here and the response of the bad request. So our controller method still remains clean. We just have added a action attribute at the top of the method. So it's now time to test this and see if it is working as before. So run the application. And let's check any one of these APIs because they all have been modified in the same way. So in the regions endpoint, we are testing the post call. So try it out. And we had the minimum and maximum on the code. So let's pass just one character and click on the execute button. And we are now seeing a 400 bad request, and it's the same errors which is on the code property saying code has to be a minimum of 3 characters. And similarly, you can try all the other validations that you have put on your models and they are behaving the same, but we now have a much cleaner controller with a custom action attribute at the top.